2018 was the centennial year of U.S. participation in World War I, and American History TV marked the anniversary with a variety of programs.
How you do? My name is Michael McCloskey. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about what the average soldier from the American Expeditionary Force in World War I would have thought, felt, carried, that sort of thing. In reality, when you were in the trenches in 1918, they would not have looked anywhere near as nice as this. The average soldier found himself up to his knees in mud, muck, and mire, especially in Belgium. Belgium had a very high water table. Along with that mud, muck, and mire was everything else that was in it. Europe had been at war for the past 3.5 years. America didn't enter until April of 1917, and we didn't get boots on the ground in Europe until 1918. By that time, you've had 3.5 years of war, conflict, death, gas warfare. All of that is mixing with what the soldiers had to live in. There weren't just one trench. You had a frontline trench, you had a secondary trench, you had a tertiary trench, you had supplies in the back where you had a cook wagon, you had artillery behind that. So the trench line was not just one trench. It was an entire complex, but that was your home, for better or for worse. 1917, you actually had a mutiny in the French army. Half the French army mutinied. They said, we won't go any further. We'll hold the line, but we won't go any further. A great deal from the French army actually wound up court-martialed, many executed. They just couldn't tolerate that sort of thing, but it did tell the high command what the situation was. The Americans make it in 1918, and when Pershing was over observing, all the Allied commanders said, oh, we'll use the army for plugging holes. We'll put them here, we'll put them here, we'll put them here. And Pershing said, no, I've been watching what you're doing. We're not going to have that. We're going to fight as a unified American command, or not at all. And that's how he managed to keep the army together, because he realized that if they allowed the Allied commanders from Europe to utilize the American forces the way they want, not much would change. So in come the Americans with a different attitude, and a lot of people say, well, the Americans made the difference. Well, we made a difference. We didn't make the difference. At the same time, you had to take into account the internal collapse of Germany itself. They'd been blockaded, they had been fighting a war on two fronts. They were running out of supplies, their economy was in shambles, generations of men had been lost. They didn't have much more to run on. Then take into account the new forms of combat that were taking place. Tank warfare had been introduced, the Battle of Cambrai. That was another factor involved. And then you take the Americans showing up at pretty much the same time, and you wind up getting the defeat of Germany that was going to take place. The American soldier had just as much bad experiences as the Europeans, as the French, as the Belgians, as the English. The difference was we wound up over there for just a year. The rest of Europe winds up fighting it for 4. So the suffering of the soldiers cannot be adequately described here in this trench line.